Good morning, David Paul here. Everything, when you're camping like this, or if you live in the woods like I'm doing, everything is a resource. What you see here might look like a lot of rubbish, but this stuff here will be used to light the fire and keep it going. And that bottle over there, you notice that the amount of plastic is slowly going down. The reason being is I'm using it as firelighters to get the fire boosted up and gone. Biodegradable rubbish, eggshells, just toss them into the woods. Good nutrition for the soil, calcium for the soil. And when I'm gone from here, this will all be just vanished. Now, my trees, my little baby trees, before I get onto them, every time I light the fire, I always end up with the fire overrunning. So you've like created a fire which is not going to end when you've finished cooking. So you have to put the fire out, or you let it burn out, but that's kind of a waste of fuel or waste of something which you can be making, because at the end of the fire you end up usually with a lump of charcoal, a couple of bits, and this is going on day after day after day after day. Little bits, say a handful of charcoal, so every day you're making a couple of handfuls of this charcoal. And what I'm doing with that charcoal, oh, and by the way, you've got to put that out, otherwise if you just leave it smouldering, the charcoal will slowly consume and disappear. So that's the condition you want it in. That's going to break up easily as it's doing, but you need to put it out. So you need to use water for that. Not desirable to use water because you're using up your water supply. So get yourself a jug full of urine and put it, I'll not get into details, but pour the urine on top, and that also helps to condition the charcoal, prime it with nutrients, ready for when it's in the soil and starting to participate in the biology of the soil. Now the plan here, the way trees and everything works, is they all construct networks of mycelia, fragments of fungus which infect the roots and cause the trees to grow more because they access more nutrients. So this very valuable resource, this charcoal, what I'm doing is I'm putting it here, biochar as you call it. The difference between charcoal and biochar is biochar you don't fully cook it out, you leave some volatiles in it a little bit so it catches a light much easier. This stuff is what you call overcooked in the days of making charcoal, only charcoal, and that's what you want as biochar. Now you can set up a whole system and make a load, or you can do as I'm doing, which is just save a little bit every time, and it slowly adds up. So that will form a network around the trees, and between each of the trees I'll put some charcoal to join up all these trees, so that all the mycelia interconnect the trees. And then after that I'll start piling up more charcoal around this area to make it a much more desirable environment. I can't change the entire forest, but I can change this piece and make it highly nutritious and desirable for these trees. Okay, now what I've done on top of that is this dusty stuff which you can see just there. There's my foot in there. On each of the trees, and you can see it on that one there, I've put shrubs, rather, really, they're shrubs at the minute. On each of these I've put some fish blood and bone, which is a compound organic fertilizer, which is it's supposed to be quick acting. It's not that quick acting. Quick acting and persistent. So I'm cool with this because I have been giving them all the seaweed fertilizer, and in fact maybe I should give them some more. So I've been giving them the seaweed fertilizer, and they will also get this long term. Now I've got some of that left, which I will spread around in a circle, connecting them all, and then when I go to Portugal, that will be used for that purpose, to make these trees grow like crazy. Then when I get back, I can feed them again. But I'll keep a little bit. I just had a brilliant idea this morning. The entrance to this site here is here, and it's slowly closing in. So the reason it's closing in is because the nettles are growing on either side. So I come up with a bright idea. The pathway through here is still going to be open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the fish blood and bone and urine and everything and put it in the middle here. And when I go away, the weeds will go crazy in the middle and have everything that they want, and they'll grow like stink. I'm also feeding these on either side to bring the heights of these weeds up so they'll be much taller. They're nettles, and people don't really like ploughing through a load of nettles. By the time I'm finished here, there'll be a sea of really high nettles, and you won't even notice anything because they'll be higher than these shrubs. And when the shrubs get up, of course, you won't need anything because you won't see anything for the shrubs. And that's it. So I'm cutting pieces of wood. That reminds me, I must do some this morning before I go. Small pieces of wood like this. These are hard woods for longer burning, and small woods, which these are rotten wood. They're like kind of like a little bit harder than balsa wood. They're really rotten through, but they catch quickly and they burn quickly. So if you want a fast hot fire, it's good for that. What else? Oh yes, yeah, in here I've got some of the hard ones. Now the trick is with this, and I would advise to anybody who tries all this and wants to cook on it, if you can imagine, that's rather like coal. They're like lumps of coal, so they burn for a much longer period of time, much more sustained heat, but they're harder to get going, and also they need drying out because they're quite damp, those. And that's it. I'm thinking of taking some of them inside my tent so they can sit there and dry all day, just like a handful every night, and so that the next day I have really dry hard woods, which are you know, going to promote a good fire. And then when I put more on top, of course, it's helping to dry them. So you need an initial charge of some really dry hardwoods, and that's it. So progress is being made. Whether I will ever get that turned into a bed or not, I don't know yet, because time is getting on. We're nearly into May. I've got all of May. I've got revision to do for an exam. I have to work. I'm getting work and doing a bit of work, and so whether I'll do any more work on this site other than tidy it up, when I finally leave, there'll be no evidence of human habitation here. I'll hide everything in the bushes, so the pallets and everything, and the rest of the stuff will go to Portugal with me, so nobody will know that anything's been here until I get back. And then I really get stuck into the construction for the winter. I'm going to have some kind of shelter here if I'm going to spend this winter here working. And that's it, really. I can hear something going on in the bushes there. There's some sort of critter in there, maybe a fox or something. It sounds too big for a rat. You become very sensitive to things. Smells, you can smell people, you can smell. In London it's easy to smell people. They're usually smoking wacky-backy marijuana, but you can smell people's aftershave and perfumes and all sorts, simply because there are no distracting other smells around. I don't know that you actually get more sensitive. I think it's just there are no background smells. Okay, anyway, that's it for now. Jesus be with you. See you later.